Omar here from Financial Wisdom. So today I'm going to be talking about Beyond Meat. Now this is a company that's received a lot of fame in the last 2 months, and it's only because of one reason, and that reason is that since the company went public at about $27 per share, the last time I checked it was at $152, and I believe even at one point it hit $189. So today in this episode I've compiled a quick summary of what the company is all about, its financials, where the industry is headed. If you stick around till the end of this episode, I've also included a quick taste test. I've never had a Beyond Meat burger before, and as always, I'm not a certified financial professional, so anything I say in this episode is purely just my own opinion and speculations. Now that being said, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with your friends so they also gain some wisdom. Let me know in the comments which company I should do an overview of next. So let's begin. So this company actually started in 2009, so it's about 10 years old, even though it's come into the spotlight just in the last 2 years. However, it is not the only company in the space. I'll later get into the overall market and competition. The whole idea behind the company is to have a meatless experience where the patty is a couple levels above a veggie burger. It's still not the real thing. However, it gives you the taste, texture, and aroma of a real meat burger. And now Beyond Meat is not the only player in town. There is Impossible Foods and some of the other smaller players that have been there for a while now. However, when you're talking about a really head-to-head competitor, there's nobody better than the Impossible Foods. Now, as you may have recently heard, that Beyond Meat has contracts with basically A&W and in Canada, more specifically Tim Hortons. However, if you look at Impossible Foods, they have a bigger footprint in the United States. So they already actually have contracts with Carl Jr.'s, White Castle, Burger King, so some of the bigger chains in the States. However, this company has not gone public yet. So just a side note to watch for later on in the year. I believe they are also planning on going public. One more side note I want to mention is actually about McDonald's. So if you think about McDonald's and you're wondering why they haven't onboarded into this whole fad of meatless burgers, because they are now closely watching from the sidelines. They basically not only need to update their entire menu and the pricing and everything else, they also need to have a different stove. Some people that basically don't even want a veggie burger that's cooked in the same stove top as a meat burger. So there's a lot of things to watch out for. My prediction is that if McDonald's currently is going to be watching this from the sidelines, if they do not jump on board with Beyond Meat or Impossible Burger, they might actually go ahead and create their own recipe for a meatless burger, or this is purely speculation, they might just go right out and buy Beyond Meat. Kellogg's announced they've been sitting on their recipe of a meatless burger for some time now. When they announced that about a week ago, Kellogg's stock actually jumped about 6%. So there are new players entering the market. However, right now leading the way is definitely Beyond Meat. Quick overview of what's really driving this industry. The way I see it, there's 3 reasons. One is health, second is environment, and lastly it's the taste. So let's start with health. In the last 3 to 4 years, there's been a shift in people's overall thinking about the level of red meat intake in their diet, and because of that paradigm shift, this is the perfect opportunity for a meatless meat burger to get in and scoop up those customers. Second reason is environment. Running a large-scale industrial capacity farming operation has a huge implication on the overall carbon footprint. So shifting away from that is definitely a key driver. Taking a step away and reassessing how we look at climate change is definitely helping this cause as well. Lastly is the taste. So from what I've read and seen, essentially a Beyond Meat burger tastes levels above a veggie burger. It still doesn't have that same level of texture, taste, aroma as a real meat burger, but I guess we'll find out. The meatless industry in 2018 did about $1 to $5 billion. 0.1 billion of that was Beyond Meat, and the rest of it is made up of the different competition. So everyone combined, we're still talking about only $1 to $5 billion that was done in 2018. And now in comparison, the overall meat market in 2018 did $250 billion. So from an overall perspective, the meatless market is absolutely nominal in comparison to the meat market, and that's where I think the speculation is currently sneaking in and jacking up the price, because from a numbers perspective, I will get into it, the stock price doesn't make any sense. However, people are absolutely speculating that customers from the meat market are going to be coming towards the meatless market, and that 1 to 5 billion is going to start clawing away from the $250 billion, and there's just a lot to play for. So that's where the speculation is coming in, and that's what I think from a qualitative standpoint is driving the stock price crazy high. So anytime I'm looking at a company, I like to basically quickly just go over some of the key ratios, including your price to earning, price to book, price to cash flow, price to sales, and debt to equity ratio. Line them up against the competition and see how the company stacks up. So before getting into it, I'll just do a quick overview for some of the people that don't necessarily know what those ratios are. Price to earning ratio is essentially a calculation of the stock price divided by a company's earning. It's a way of putting a value on each dollar of company's earnings. So for example, if company A is generating $100 in earnings and the stock price is $100, that's a ratio of 1, meaning that each $1 earned is valued $1 in stock price. The second one is price to book value. Basically, this is essentially your asset minus liability, so your total equity. Stock price divided by your assets minus liabilities. Essentially another way of looking at what the market values each dollar of equity of a firm. Third one I mentioned is price to sales. This one is another fairly easy one. It's essentially a market's way of looking at each dollar of revenue earned by a company. What does the market value that each dollar? If a company is stock price is $100 and the sales last year were done also $100, so each dollar of revenue brought in, market values that each dollar 1 to 1. As cash is king, I like to look at price to cash flow. Basically, this is another way of looking at what the market values each dollar of cash brought in. And lastly, I like to look at debt to equity ratio. This is a way of looking at how much of a company's operations are leveraged through either equity or debt. So a high ratio means that more of the company operations are leveraged through a bank loan, let's say debt. If the ratio is smaller, that means more of the company operations are leveraged through equity. And now let's look at how Beyond Meat racks up. Spoiler alert, it is extremely overvalued right now. So just looking at price to sales ratio, currently price to sales ratio is running at 77.6 for Beyond Meat. In comparison, you're looking at Nestle, Kellogg's, GM, they average between 1.9 and 5. So you're paying a 70 times more multiple for Beyond Meat. So from a price to sales perspective, definitely overvalued. Now let's look at price to book value. Like I mentioned, this is your price divided by your assets minus liabilities. Price to book ratio for Beyond Meat is 126. Price to book ratio for Kellogg's is 7.5. Price to book ratio for Kraft Heinz is 0.7. Price to book ratio for Danone, which makes yogurts, is 3. So this just puts things in perspective. So just from looking at those two ratios, I can tell you the company is extremely overvalued in comparison to the competition. Basically, the overall bottom line is I would seriously consider investing in this company. However, I think the timing right now just doesn't make any sense. I would wait to see another couple, 2-3 quarterly earnings come out and see how the ratios change. And lastly, I would really want to see where McDonald's is headed with this. Those are the 3 things that I'm looking out for. However, this is definitely something that's interesting and something that if it takes off, there's loads and loads of upside. All right, so now for the fun part, I'm going to try this Beyond Meat burger for the first time. Bye. Okay, first ever bite. Here we go. I put it somewhere in the middle between a veggie patty and a beef patty. I don't think it's an alternative for me. I don't know if I want to actually have a burger. I would pay $10 for a replica. You can tell it doesn't smell like a beef patty. It smells something totally different. From the look of it also, it doesn't really look like a beef patty. And as for the taste, it's somewhere in between. I would still most likely get an actual beef burger rather than paying a premium on a Beyond Meat burger. So that's it for the taste test. Once again, hopefully you liked the video, and please subscribe and let me know which company I should do a overview of next. Bye.